it's late, so I got to keep it down, but for the neighbors. But I wanted to talk about a few things. Um, recent, and I mean over the last year, recent events have gotten me to a place where I am seriously evaluating um, a lot, pretty much every category in my life. And it's not anything dire. I mean, it is, but it's not anything tea worthy or cancel worthy or anything to that level. It is just a moment in life where I'm like anyone else, lifting up my head, looking around and saying, how did I get here? This isn't what I had intended, or this isn't anything like what I should be doing or what I feel inside I should be doing. Um, this is not making me happy. This is affecting my health. This is affecting my peace, my time, my everything. And it's not a blame game. I don't want that to be misinterpreted as a blame game. This is a, what have I done? What have my decisions and my actions and my choices and my, how did I get here? This, my feet and this and this. It's like, I know that, but if I'm not happy with it and if it is my doing, then it's up to me to change it. And the only one that can do that is me. So much has happened over the last 10 years. Some things I didn't think I'd survive, and some things I didn't think would ever happen, both in the positive and negative. And, I'm a very complex person to get to know. Most people only see parts, and even then it's just what I choose to show. And the reasoning behind that is just, it would take like 50 TikTok videos to make her. But the long and short of it is that I have been afraid my entire life. And as good of an actor as I am, I hide it very well. I hide when I'm sad or broken or falling apart. Some people get to see that, but that's just production value. You're going to, show up, show out, right? And, it wasn't until I sat down and thought, okay, what did you originally want to do when you grew up? That I realized I never even took the time to figure that out. It has always been survival mode, stay alive, honestly. Get through it. I'm a very get through it kind of guy. Because I'm always going through it and getting through it. And people look at that like, oh, you're so resilient. You're so, it's, people don't realize that resilience is both a blessing and a curse. Because once you can get through it, you're always going through it. You're always getting through it. Try not to get emotional here. It never ends. Because really, how many of us really take the time and effort to not only examine and assess the data and think, okay, where could changes have been made? Because I know not everything can be controlled. Of course not, obviously. That goes without saying. But how many of us just really take that hard look and make those changes and have a different result? We live in circles, all of us. Myself, I'm no exception. No matter how talented, how intelligent, how whatever. And, we both admire that and deny ourselves that. I think, we watch these inspirational films about people who are conversity and change, come from nothing, like knowing that we all could do it ourselves, but we don't. It's hard to live with, so we just ignore it. At least I did. Now, over the last 10 years, I have made some really, really poor decisions in my favor. Nothing illegal, nothing horrendous or despicable, but nothing that would, nothing that I'm proud of. But about halfway through it, over the last 10 years, I for the first time in my life, I at least gave effort to something. I put investment in something. I put, countless hours and cried and wanted to give up and faced all kinds of hate and denial and jealousy and insecurities that were projected on me. And it's life. That's just life. I don't hold any resentment towards that. Didn't expect it was going to be the degree to which it was, but hey, here we are. And, you know, the details don't matter. They're just so irrelevant because a this is an experience that we all share. And I don't ever like to tell people like, oh, well, everyone goes through things. I hate those sayings because it's such a cop out and it's such a disqualifying statement. It's well, everyone goes through things, so it doesn't matter. Yes, it does matter. They went through it. It mattered then, and you're going through it, and I'm going through it, and it matters now. What I really feel that statement says is like, I really don't want to listen to what you have to say because I don't care. And I'm saying this to get you to shut up. And I'm seems a bit bitter and a bit jaded, but I mean, honestly, the way we have evolved into a society where we say things that are mean completely different, opposite, or something else, it's baffling and it's astounding. There's no directness and genuineness behind statements anymore. Words are such a mystery. I mean, that's why I'm an English major. It's just like they can be transformed with tonality and inflection and intent and all these different things and pauses and everything to mean something completely 180% opposite or different. And that can affect human behavior and human lives and outcome. That's remarkable. And I mean, that's just me. I'm a nerd and bookworm. What can I say? But I do believe that about words, spoken, written, sung, even. And so, as I said, details don't matter. But for the first time, I did invest, and I've done a lot of amazing things in the last 6 years. Like I'm still kind of in disbelief, and it's not until I see it on paper or I get messages or signs or someone informs me like, hey, you influenced and my life for a positive change. And I got that tonight and last night. Last evening I was at the park with my daughter and I saved a toddler's life. Their details don't matter, but it unsettled me very much so. I mean, I was grateful. I'm grateful to my higher power that I was there, be able to be there and be in that moment. But I still think, I can't help but with my high intelligence, it gets pretty damn creative about the what ifs because it can create those scenarios in my head like home movies. And it's hard not to fixate on that when you can design an entire what if, like down to the smallest details. It's scary, especially when you have an eidetic memory that can remember things like home movies. It's good sometimes, but most times it's such a hindrance and such a disruption to everyday present living. You have to be careful. And I hope that I'm not judging that what the parent or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. Is what I'm saying is that I hope that things get better for both parties, child and parent. And I'm glad that hopefully me being there and helping non-judgmentally is a catalyst for them to be better and be okay and both be safe and loved and in each other's lives. I'm not here to judge. That is not my job. That is not what I was designed by my creator to do. That being said, and I'm going to get a little bit real for a moment, I am freaking sick and tired of spending a lifetime apologizing for things that I'm good at. I am so fed up with saying, I'm sorry, I'm smart. I'm like effing done adjusting or suppressing or hiding the fact that I am extremely intelligent, beyond extremely intelligent, baffling, like awe-inspiring intelligent, and that I can pick things up in seconds compared to other people. I'm tired of having a multifaceted existence of talent and gifts, and being made to feel that that's something that's wrong, or that should be ashamed of. I had no part in the creation of those things, or the gifting of those things. They're here because of someone else, someone greater than I. It had nothing to do with me. But on the flip side, I don't think that makes me better than anyone else. I never have, and I never will. That's just a concept, a structure that we created. I really believe we are all equal. We are all children of a higher power. We are all created equally, differently, to do different things, to play a different role in this whole grand design, which is the way I believe. But we take too much time, I do, looking at everyone else, thinking we know better, acting on our will, my will, not my higher powers. And I want that to be clear, with anyone in my life, that yes, I possess intelligence, I possess all kinds of things, but I do not use any of those to define who I am, or to put me in a place where I think I am superior to anyone. Because quite frankly, if you want to know the truth, I think I'm the bottom rung almost every day of my life. And that's not something I want to say for pity. I think pity is a wasted emotion. I don't need pity. It doesn't benefit me in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't create. I am very much of the mind that there's a higher power and a lower power, and one has the power to create and the other has power to destroy. It's, duality. And I'm only interested in the creation part. I've done enough of destroying, not maliciously, road to hell, hello. And I don't believe in evil and good. I believe in creation and destruction. The higher power and the lower power. And it's so, it's so hard to tell which is which nowadays. Genuineness, and sincerity, and face value, they're almost non-existent. We're all so exhausted from trying to figure out who's on the level. At least I am. I don't hold any resentments or grudges or hate anyone, even myself. I don't hate myself. I don't, I understand the reasoning most times why people do things they do. I made straight A's in psychology class, a year of psychology in college, but behavioral motivation was my gig because I knew, I can see it. I've got such a spatial mind. I can see things in parts: music, air conditioners, people, myself. Yeah, but that's one I ignore. But my point is that I understand the motivations behind people's actions and behaviors. And while, it sucks and it's hard to be a part of that times, on some level, I get it. I wish that some people didn't act that way, but I understand. And because of that understanding, I can have empathy. Without understanding, without any kind of willingness to understand where someone is coming from, not where they are or what they're doing, but where they're coming from deep down, without that, empathy is non-existent, no matter how many times you tell yourself you empathize. It just is that way. And I believe that with my whole heart. That is the core of my existence belief system. And I'm such a giving person, but I give to myself almost like nothing. And it's to a point now that I'm going to be 41 on Tuesday. And though I don't think time is running out, I can't help but notice the clock on the wall. And it's scary. It's kind of scary to think about mortality. So if I'm pulling back from social media, I'm pulling back from, daily social interactions because I've got to really focus and figure out what I need to do in order to have an abundant life. And I don't mean affluence. Money is so it's really not important to me. Comfort, security, consistency. That is what I'm after. Not, Jane Fonda says we're not meant to be perfect, we're meant to be whole. And I'm so lacking in so many other areas of my life with contentment. And contentment's subjective. It looks different to everyone and it's defined differently. But to me, it's like, am I really doing, or am I going to get to do what I was put here to do? I don't know what that is yet. Helping others, I know that's where it starts, and teaching others. I'm kind of getting the idea of what I want to do that. Now, how I'm going to do it, I don't know. In what form or medium or shape, I don't know. But where I'm at right now, geographically, spiritually, physically, monetarily, familially, or it's not working. It hasn't worked for a long time, and I've gave it my all, and I mean, it's critical now. It's affecting my health, and I mean, I've had strep, COVID, and now Lyme's disease, all in the last 8 months. I'm tired. I mean, I can't get it together to take care of myself, let alone anyone else. And I don't have family support, and that's just a fact. I don't want to say that like it's an ugly thing, or I'm trying to embarrass anybody or judge anybody, but it's a fact. I don't have close family ties, and a lot of that's my doing, but a lot of it isn't. And it's not for anyone to judge. It's not for anyone. It just is what it is. And so when I go down, everything in production stops. There's no one to say, okay, I got you, get better, like rest. I'm trying to do both at the same time, and it's causing the whole thing to break down. And it's getting to the point where it's not going to bounce back at all. That's scary. But it's nobody's fault but my own. There's nobody's responsibility to fix it but my own. But to do so, I need the time and space and respect to do it. I can. I'm smart enough. My whole life, I've turned to other people to figure things out for me because I've been afraid to do it myself. I've done a lot. So now I know I can do it. There is this black and white empirical data that says, yes, you can do this. And I can't ignore it any longer. It's hard. It's scary. I'm terrified if you want to know the truth. But the second thing that happened tonight, I was reminded by a young man that when people say no, or that it's impossible, or that it's never going to happen, all it takes is one person to say, yes, it is going to happen, and yes, you can, and you will. And they did. And that had like 1% to do with me. But still, when I got that picture of a cap and gown and a smile, and just the look in their eyes is like, gosh, I mean, I don't know how to feel. I feel humbled and thankful to my creator. But how do I keep that going? How do I make that sustainable? There's a lot of hate in this world. A lot of unspeakable and unimaginable hate in this world. And it's so unnecessary. And it's not my job to fix it. It's not my job to combat it head on, a one-man army. I can't do it. Like I said, there's too much of my, so there's a lot of people in my life that disagree with what I'm deciding to do now. And it saddens me, but I'm not angered by it. And many of you will hear very untrue statements about me, or untrue pejoratives, names and things, and some of them are pretty bad, and some of them are despicable. And I could sit here going through each one, defending them, and it's so irrelevant to what I need to do and focus on right now. And I'll say this: if you don't know me well enough to know that I'm not a person of anything like that, or that I'm not capable of doing those things, or it doesn't sound like me, then I thank you for that. But if you are the kind of person that doesn't know me well enough and believes those things, I'm sorry to hear that. I don't have time to sit here and convince you otherwise anymore. Quite frankly, when people make up their mind, that's it. And I'm sorry that you've done that. And I hope that you have a nice life, but you are no longer going to be allowed in the realm of mine. I don't have time for it. And I'm sorry. And it may seem shocking and rude, but it's just kind of like, who would want someone like that? Like that just would believe some kind of story like that. And it doesn't matter who you are, quite frankly. I'm only interested in people who are wanting to go that journey of creation, to help each other, to help this world, to help other people. Two years ago, it was like another dimension, surreal, the tragedy. I mean, to wake up in your PJs and eating cornflakes and see President Biden walking across the street into the church that I, was living across it. Really. And I've done my best to point out what I think is the root, but it doesn't matter. People don't want to hear it. It does not matter. It does matter, but I mean, it's just like, I realized that nobody wants to hear it. We're all so terrified. We just don't want to look anymore. And I don't want to sit here and talk about it, but it's just like, I tried to be part of a solution, or best I could think of, 2 months after the fact. Fearlessly. Well, not fearlessly, but moving forward in spite of that fear. But I realized that I went to a place that I became a living reminder every time I walked into a room of something that people were desperately trying to deny and put on the back burner. And with my best intentions of doing well, kind of shot myself in the foot. That, coupled with that living reminder, it made for a very unique outcome. Still, it's outcomes like that young man tonight that makes this experience over the last couple years a good one. A lot of good things came out of the last years, or have, by my doing. And I am nothing but grateful and hopeful. But back to, the cancel campaign, I guess we'll call it. I am a good man and try to be one every day of my life. I'm a decent human being. I follow the law of both this world and the other. My best of my abilities. I don't get it right 100% of the time. I'm not perfect. But I'll be damned if I'm going to have anyone in my life that is willing to say those things, believe those things, or do anything else to paint a different picture for their own purposeful intent. And while I may not be able to stop them, any of those people on both sides, I don't have to be around to watch it. I want to be in a place where I am celebrated or acknowledged, even appreciated. I know it seems a bit selfish, but hey, isn't that what we all want? I want to be in a place where I don't have to be afraid all the time. I'm so terrified 24/7. That's not life. I want to be to rest. I want to, focus on things that I need to fix that I don't ever have the time to focus on. I'm not good to anyone if I'm not good, and I'm really not in a good place right now. I'm not in crisis. There's nothing dire, but I can see down the road. And it's like, exit now or you're going to run out of gas, period. Like, there will not be any more stations along the way. So, I hope whoever sees this and is in my life cares for me truly, genuinely, understands that I just need some time to figure things out and then enact it to where I can feel safe and comfortable saying, okay, I'm back. I have to figure this out on my own. I have to do this 100% on my own. I'm tired of depending on other people. Someone as capable as I am should have no problems getting on the ball and getting it done. And if I have to be kind of callous and distant at the time to get it done, so be it. This is my life we're talking about. And whether you believe that of a man's like me, life should matter is irrelevant, because I believe it should matter. And it does matter to me and to my creator. And that's all that matters, period, as the kids would say. I'm pretty heartbroken, if I'll be honest. I think I'm sadder than I've ever been. But more so because, thinking that things are a certain way and knowing they are two different things. And I'm slowly accepting it, but it doesn't make it any easier. Doesn't make it, there's some wounds and scars that are never going to heal, and it's okay. We all have them. But continuing to inflict damage into those wounds is only going to make it worse. I have to do this to survive. And I'm being honest to many and only known to a few. I am damn good at surviving. But that's the thing, is that, yeah, it's one thing to be good at staying alive. But that's not living. That's not life. Staying alive is one thing. Living it is another. Living it truly and wholly and genuinely and in a good light is something completely different. Something I've not done ever, no matter how it looks on the surface. I'm not saying I've lived in the bad, but I'm saying I've been in this neutral space of just stay alive. 40 years, I think that's enough, honestly. So, if you're staying, awesome. I'll see you soon. Check in if you want to, but I'm just asking for the respect and space of like, I'm fine. If I get to a place I'm not fine, I promise I will let you know. But and if you're willing to say, yes, I know you, and that's not you, and I don't believe it, great. Okay. You're more than welcome. But, and I mean this, if even a shred of it enters your mind that any of that is true, you're no longer welcome here at all or ever again. I have that right. People don't tell you about boundaries. They say, oh, set boundaries, but they don't understand or tell you how hard that is to do when you've never done it your whole life, or how hard it is to maintain when people just don't care because they think they know you and they bulldoze right through them, not giving a damn about the consequences or any kind of pain they inflict to you. Maintaining a boundary is hard, but it comes down to the simple fact of saying to someone, you have been told these were the rules, you broke them repeatedly, and now you don't deserve to share that space in which I exist. It's as simple as that. And be prepared for the pushback and the absolute worst of humanity to be the response. But still, again, I don't hold any resentments. I'm too busy trying to save my own life to care about what other people are doing. And I don't want to hear karma. I don't want to hear any of that. I am far too concerned about my own to ever be worried about someone else's. But I mean that. If you want to believe the hype, that's fine. Go to that party, stay at that tent. You're no longer welcome at the establishment. And I'm sorry for that, and I'm sad for that, but it's the truth. And I will use any legal means necessary to enforce that, because this is my life, and I'm meant to do great things with it. I know I am. And that has been the frustration my whole life, is that I can't do what I feel deep down in my gut that I'm meant to do. And that's my fault. But now it is my responsibility to make sure that that changes for good this time. While I am not traditionally religious, I am spiritual, and I do believe in a higher power, and I do believe a lot of the same. The only difference is that I have my own interpretation of it. And I try every day to live through that interpretation. I apply it. You know, nothing is ideal. But just like in my profession, you know, theory is important. Reading the book is important, but applying it is just as important. Neither one is more important than the other, and you need both in order to do it, get the job done. That's a universal thing, by the way, if you haven't figured it out by now. And it's a constantly changing. Nothing is finite. Nothing is certain. Not even death. Because if it were, we would know when it would happen. So it's constantly inventorying, constantly, you know, comparing the two. Apply, like, you know, this changes. Okay, so how does it change here? How does the theory change? Then the application. How does the understanding change? Okay, now change. Like it's self-perpetuating. I've at least figured that out. Figured out what else to do. That's beside the point. This is running long, so I'm fine. I am magenta. If you get the joke, you'll know what I mean. I'm ready. Finally. Finally. Ready. And I hope you're there to stick around to see. I really do. I hope you are. I love you. If you're a stranger, if you're in my life for the last 20 years or the last week, I love you. My friend Tom always said, nobody else has told you they love you today. I love you. And I say that more to myself right now. And that's how I show myself that I love myself and the rest of the world. Lisa Nichols says the world is looking at you for your example of how to treat you. And that's damn right. So, time to show them. See you soon. Don't worry, I won't be gone too long. But for now.